Find out the truth in a mo. Thank you very much. The truth is, half of all cyclists jump red lights, which is illegal and carries a maximum fine of £2.5 grand. Welcome back. You're watching The Wright Stuff. Jeremy Milnes, Larry Turner and Nigel Planer, all present and correct. Little while, would you look up a potential lover, a potential new boyfriend or girlfriend on Google before you met them? Some people think that is immoral. People like Larry. I want to know why. And the sun is out. It is party time. Much easier to say than do. If you want advice on how to throw the perfect bash, what to put in going home prezzies for kids, when to serve booze to teenagers, how to organise the perfect wedding reception, give TV cook Mary-Louise Parker a call. 08712 442 555. First, are cyclists a bunch of pedal pests? Cycling is more popular now than ever. That was front page news on The Independent yesterday. I am a comparatively recent convert, famously arrested for pedalling in London's Regent's Park a few months ago, which was where they had a cycling festival at the weekend with thousands of people cycling, unhindered by the police, but we'll let that go for now. I may be a cyclist, but I am not blind to the problems this bicycle boom is bringing with it. The actor Nigel Havers, he provoked a storm of protest a week ago with a one-line comment on how he hated cyclists who jumped red lights. He's even had his car smacked by a vengeful pedal pest, and I bet he is not alone, because cycle rage seems as prevalent as road rage these days. But what right have cyclists to be angry when half of them break even the most basic road laws? Jumping red lights, illegal. Riding on pavements, illegal. Riding across pedestrian crossings, illegal. Can you imagine if you did that in a car? And what about the other half who stick to the law? Have they any right to be angry? They don't pay a penny in road tax. More worrying still, they don't have any insurance. Doesn't that put them at the bottom of the list when it comes to righteous anger? If they don't like the way cars, lorries and motorcycles use the roads they've paid for, why don't they buy their own? Yeah? Last year, 35,000 cyclists caused damage to third-party property. Have you ever tried to get an uninsured, unregistered cyclist to cough up for damage?
Are you feeling better now?
Yeah. You used to be a cyclist, Nigel, or you still are?
I used to be a cyclist. I gave up when they went like 4x4, when they got the big mountain bikes. I like the old-fashioned
proper
sit-up. I sort of gave up when they made it illegal not to have a helmet.
Is that any? I don't know. I don't wear one.
You have to wear a helmet, don't you? And it's
you don't get arrested again.
I wish they'd design a helmet that didn't make you look like a...
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
You wear a skate helmet, don't you?
Is that right?
Yeah, and they're round.
Larry.
I know.
Now, let's get to the point here. For all my rebel-rousing, my point is, it is bizarre that so many people can be travelling. I followed a cyclist the other day who was doing 40 miles an hour around Regent's Park, which is 10 miles over the limit, so I must be guilty as well. But they're uninsured. They're the only road users, apart from riders, and there's not so many of them, that are uninsured. Is that sensible in the modern day?
That's right. I mean, when I was a cyclist, I did slap cars. I've done all that. You do, because you're wound up, because your adrenaline's pumping, because you like that. And cars do try and drive you off the road. Yeah. And they don't look out for you, and so you smack them. Yeah. That's the only way of doing it, is to smack them.
And if you damage a car, you scratch a shiny Porsche, and that might leave the owner with a £5 grand bill. Is that right? That owner
Porsche
has
owner,
no
it's
right?
not going to trouble a Porsche owner, is it?
This is the problem, isn't it? It's a class-ridden argument, or a cashback.
Cameron is on a bike, so it's quite popular.
He's followed by his limo, though, isn't he? Wherever he goes.
My hometown, Matthew, is Cambridge. Now, during term...
Biggest cycling town in Britain.
Cambridge is like cycling city during university, and it's like kind of swatting flies, and it's it is dangerous. Pedestrians and cars and whatever. There are bikes everywhere. Now, London's not that much different. In fact, obviously probably worse. But it does rile me when I'm driving along and I'm stopping at lights, and suddenly there's a bike in front of me, and I'm on the brakes, or they come up and they lean on the wing mirror, bang, that goes. It's a nightmare. The pedal comes down by the side of the car. It wasn't you, by the way, was it?
I was too busy in the park.
You were too busy in the park. They should have insurance, and maybe road tax as well. A lot better than that fat tax we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
Stick it on that.
Okay.
Because it annoys me a little bit as well.
No, we have to say, whenever I see a cyclist, I also drive, I always think that is one less car on the road. So we have to remember that each is potentially one less car on the road, so it's making our lives better. the problem I have is, as a pedestrian, is cyclists who are pedalling on the pavement. There's a kind of grey area. If you're a kid, I can just about understand it. But when you're a mum with then 2 other kids also on bikes on the pavement, I don't think you can justify it, because pavements are for people, and they do weave in and out.
OK, but you see, because the cyclist hasn't paid a penny to be on the public roads, I think they have every right to be on the pavement, which you, the pedestrian, who hasn't paid a penny to be on the pedestrian, is walking on too. So pedestrians and cyclists on the pavement...
car drivers have some degree of tin around them to protect themselves from
Motorcyclists don't.
Well,
they have to pay everything. Why can't cyclists?
Well, I just think as a pedestrian you are in far more danger from a push bike than you are in your
Well, I don't know. If you had a car driving down a pavement, that would actually create a lot more bloodshed, I suspect, than a cyclist.
Maybe these cyclists should just learn to cycle better and do things like arm signals.
Testing.
If you're going round you know, a big march or something like that on a cycle, cyclists just come in and out, don't they?
This is another point.
When I was cycling on my lovely, you know, sit-up one, as long as you stick your arm out and say, I'm going that way, I'm going that way, I'm slowing down now.
Don't you have even a bit of grudging... I mean, we have to have a bit of grudging respect. To cycle in London, you had to be incredibly brave.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be brave.
Or very violent. Now, let's find out from you. Cyclist pedal pests? Is it time we introduced insurance? A decent test, perhaps, as Nigel suggested? Corinne?
Well, we've got this email from Ros in Berkshire. She says, I think it would be a real shame if we had to be insured to cycle. It would put people off exercising, and it would not be worth it insuring yourself.
Let's hope she doesn't get run over by a cyclist.
Day.
I bet that'll change her point of view. She has her leg broken, gets off work, maybe loses her job.
All right, let's go to Mike from Aberdeen.
Calm down.
Calm down, Matthew.
This makes me mad. Corinne, sorry.
Mike from Aberdeen on line 1.
Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
Am I mad, or have I got reason to be angry?
Very angry.
OK,
Yeah.
go on, why?
Well, I was sat at traffic lights one afternoon, and beside me was a police car. And on the inside, a bicycle came down and scratched the whole length of my car, taking my mirror off as well. I jumped out to grab the cyclist, and the coppers paid more attention to me than the cyclist.
Well, obviously, I mean, you're a criminal straight away for trying to sort out a problem with your car, yeah.
And then it ended up with me paying 500 quid to have my car resprayed. I told the coppers that he should be arrested, and they said it's pointless.
Absolutely.
Absolutely pointless. They just let him go.
What's the solution, Mike?
Kill them all. No. They should have to go through a test, the same as we do. They should have a licence to ride on the road.
Right.
They should have insurance.
Yeah.
And anybody found without it, they should do a year in prison.
OK, all right, Mike. Moderate views here on the Wright Stuff. Thank you for that.
Another one with you, Matthew. This is David from London on line 2.
David, good morning. Have you got a problem with cyclists?
Hi, Matthew. Yeah, I mean, I have a sort of double... It's a double thing with me, because I try to be as green as possible, but then the personal thing of, like, you know, coming out of my front door one day, cyclists into me, and I say you shouldn't be on the pavement, and you're spat in the face. And it's so shocking, because it's sort of, you know, part of your personal space that you can walk on the pavement without actually someone spitting in you. And, you know, again, where I live, it's like the cyclists on the pavement. They've just put in a barrier through a little tunnel to stop cyclists going through really quickly under the railway line. And, of course, all they do now is slow down really carefully and weave through it and do exactly the same thing. And I suppose the thing that makes me most mad is that this is a self-righteous attitude that goes with being green, and yet in every other respect they break the law. But, I mean, what can you do? Because the police are so busy with everything else, they're not going to stop people and say, like the gentleman who's just called, you know, you've broken the law by
I mean, I really feel for him, because I imagine it happens all the time. Cyclists scratching cars. If the cyclist stops and offers to pay, he could still give you a false name and address and never actually do it. But most of them, from what I've heard from people talking around the office now, people just cycle off as if they're not responsible.
There's also a lot of cyclists who get killed by bad car drivers.
Yeah, undoubtedly. As there are motorcyclists who pay insurance and pay road tax, money that goes towards society, that pays for the roads, that pays for the ambulances that come and pick them up. Cyclists don't pay anything.
Can I ask a question here, Matthew? A couple of your callers have talked about, you know, damage done to their cars, and I've had it done to mine, and the cyclists just disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, they're under no legal obligation to pay up.
Actually, all insurance does is act on your behalf, so you could still take a civil tort against them, but you would have to pay.
But I mean, if they had their own insurance, it would be so much easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah. A couple more calls if we can, please.
Let's go to Kerry from Leicestershire on line 5.
Kerry, good morning.
Morning.
Are cyclists, is it getting out of control?
Sort of, because I am a cyclist, and I think I'm 16, and it's the only way I can get around.
OK.
I'm not old enough to learn to drive a car. I hate the bus system where I live. And it's like... And what annoys me, I am insured because I come from a cycling family.
Right.
And I'm careful, and then you get all the drivers that come up behind me. Once I was riding, I had to take a wide berth, and this car came right up to me, knocked me off, and started swearing at me. And
not good. I mean, the point being that there are good cyclists and there are bad cyclists. The statistics say that half of all cyclists jump red lights. So if we take that as being the proportion that willingly and regularly break the law, then half of all cyclists are bad cyclists. That is a poor statistic. Should they all be insured like yourself, Kerry?
Yeah, we should be insured because we are using the road. But it's when cyclists are riding responsibly and then the car drivers blame us for something that they do wrong.
Absolutely. The trouble is, until we're all on an even platform, we've all got insurance, we've all got road tax, there will be that dispute. Kerry, thank you. Corey, one more.
We've got David now from Preston on line 3.
David, good morning.
Hi, yeah. I see what you say about cyclists jumping red light. Obviously, it's not acceptable for people who think that they're above the law like that. But I think that I can accept cycling more than motorcycling, for instance, because it's kind of more an expression of free will. You're actually putting some effort into it, you know what I mean?
That's the pros and cons of the activity. But if a motorcyclist scrapes my car as it feeds through the traffic, I can take down his number plate even if he doesn't stop, and my insurance company will find that motorcyclist, and hopefully he'll have insurance, and that insurance will pay for the damage to my car. Right. If you come past my car and you accidentally scrape my car, or you deliberately scrape my car, I don't know you from Adam, I've got no way of tracking you down, and you get off scot-free and I get left with the bill. That is not fair.
I was with a pedestrian, surely.
Well, yeah, but pedestrians, as a rule, I don't know, don't deliberately go up to cars and knock them down because they're on the pavements.
Well, it depends what sort of area you live in, I think.
David,
to be honest with you.
I think you're splitting hairs. Get rid of him. Thank you very much for all the calls on that. Oh, God, if I ran the world, what a world it would be.
Oh, gosh.
Now, after the ads, oh, God, Larry, would you Google a new lover on Google before you met